You can't stop me now. Can't stop me now. My feet have come too far for you to tie them to the ground. Can't stop me now. Can't stop me now. Set my sights on where I'm going at. They turn it back around. Can't stop me.
Well, good evening and welcome to the Psych Coffee Shop. I'm Aeson Knight. Of course, with me tonight is the Techie with Mostess. He brings his tea to the table, but that's okay. Techie Joe.
Hello.
How are you, darling?
Oh, doing okay. Hey, Brenda.
Hello, Miss Brenda.
Yes. But no, we made it. We're here. We're organized.
Yeah.
We found new ways to do stuff, and I think this was probably our best idea ever.
Well, thank you. We just stole it from somebody else, but that's okay.
Oh, well, good deal.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So, some interesting news out of New York, finally. The Oompa Loompa Brigade has been found guilty on all counts of criminal tax fraud.
Oh, see, they always start taking them down with the taxes. All right. So, a Manhattan jury has found two Trump Organization companies guilty on multiple charges of criminal tax fraud and falsifying business records connected to a 15-year scheme to defraud tax authorities by failing to report and pay taxes and compensation for top executives. The Trump Corp and Trump Payroll Corp were found guilty on all charges they faced. Donald Trump and his family were not charged in this case, but the former president was mentioned repeatedly during the trial by prosecutors about his connection to the benefits doled out to certain executives, including company-funded apartments, car leases, and personal expenses. The Trump Organization could face a maximum of $1.61 million in fines when sentenced in mid-January. The company is not at risk of being dismantled because there is no mechanism under New York law that would dissolve the company. However, a felony conviction could impact its ability to do business or obtain loans or contracts.
God, maybe that will help it. The guilty verdict comes as Trump is under several federal and state prosecutors for his handling of classified documents and effect to turn over, of course, the 2020 election and the acquisition of his Trump organizational business records and financial statements. He is also facing $250 million civil lawsuit in New York from the Attorney General alleging him and his adult children were involved in decades-long of fraud. What should you do? Just turn on True Social and see it? I mean, because it's evidently now we're loving the AG out of New York, permanently barring them from serving as an officer or director of a company in New York State, among other penalties.
Now, CNN senior legal analyst and former federal prosecutor Ellie Onig, she has a really great quote here. It's also a victory of sorts for the Manhattan District Attorney. Onig said, their theory now that part of the income for employees, including Alan Weisselberg, was paid through fringe benefits in order to avoid tax liability, that theory has been vindicated. So yeah. But now prosecutor Joshua Steinglass told the jury in closing arguments that Trump, quote, explicitly sanctioned, end quote, tax fraud and urged them to reject the defense's argument that former Trump Organization chief financial officer Alan Weisselberg was a rogue employee motivated by his own personal greed.
Right.
This quote, this whole narrative that Donald Trump is blissfully ignorant is just not true, Steinglass said.
Right. Weisenberger also revealed that he had conversations with Mini Mott Trump and the Oompa Loompa himself, but told the jury when questioned by the attorneys that he did not suffer him or consequence with anybody in the Trump family. A plus B doesn't equal Z.
No. No. No.
No.
That's yeah. No. So yeah, it looks like they were not treating the perks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably what they called them as perks.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't treating that as income.
Right.
And that's a really screwed up area when you're talking about employees of a business, not owners of a business.
Right.
Like there's a lot of tax shelters that you can take and that employers have taken. Like if your company leases you a car,
Mm-hmm.
then the company owns the car.
Right.
But if you transfer that lease or you set that lease up so that the asset transfers to a person,
Right.
not the company,
Mm-hmm.
or the apartment, transfers to the person, not the company, then that's not a perk.
Mm-hmm.
That's compensation.
Right.
This usually isn't really hard to follow, is that you're getting, that a perk is a benefit,
Right.
not an asset transfer.
Right.
Like if you transfer transfer an asset, or use something as a vehicle to transfer money, you basically just did money laundering.
Right.
You illegally transferred an asset and didn't pay taxes or claim taxes anywhere along the way for the compensation that you received.
Right. Well, and they're, his lawyers are trying to blame the accountant that dropped him earlier this year. Yeah, I guess the checks weren't good anymore.
Well, either the checks weren't good anymore, or this got to a situation in which it's what you're asking us to do
right.
is so blatantly illegal.
Right.
Like it's not just, well, okay, that's a gray area, and all right, we'll figure out how to make that more solid.
Right.
Because that's sort of what your accountant can do,
Mm-hmm.
is find the gray areas and do it legally.
Right.
That even if it's not the spirit of the law, it is the letter of the law. It's very possible the former accountant was being asked to do things or expected to do things that, no, that's not just like, a little bendy. That's just pure out break the law blatantly with no, with like callous disregard.
Exactly.
Yeah, no. What I find funny, and what I think a lot of people will struggle with here, so when your company gives you that lovely gift card every Christmas, for a turkey, basically what effectively this case is just imagine you got a lot of those gift cards. Because your employer has to claim those as compensation to you.
Right.
Like, yes, they give you a free turkey, but they also have to claim they paid you an extra 25, 50, 100, whatever dollars that gift card is for,
right,
on their taxes.
Right.
More importantly, on your taxes. Someone has to pay the taxes on this gift.
Right.
What happened here is no one paid the taxes.
Right.
Like the Trump Corp did not pay the taxes, the employee did not pay the taxes, and we're not talking about, a couple of turkeys.
Right.
We're talking about lots and lots and lots of like the equivalency of those gift cards, thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars. In compensation that these people received but never paid taxes on. Like no one paid taxes.
Right.
So yeah, that's where the problem starts. Like everyone gets annoyed. They have to pay taxes on their gift from their boss. That's because it's compensation.
Yes.
Like legally, they can't just give you a free turkey and not consider that part of your compensation.
Right.
Someone along the way has to pay the taxes.
Right.
That's just the thing.
Yes.
So, yeah.
That's just the way it is.
I mean, otherwise, everyone would just ask for a fucking gift card.
Right.
Like, if you didn't have to pay taxes, if you didn't have to pay, all the lovely, federal, state taxes,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't you just be like, sure, give me a gift card?
Right.
Like, put your 40, 50, 30, 40, $50,000 a year you're going to pay me
Right.
on a gift card.
Right. Well, it's like a lot of the companies, when PayPal started doing auto payout,
Mm-hmm.
they switched over to paying by PayPal. Why? Because they don't have to do the 1099Ks. PayPal does.
Right. Right. And at that point, it's a fully automated system.
Exactly. So it's always interesting to me, just how some of this works. But at the same time, it's like, there's no non-deniability here.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah. Well, they plan to appeal. They're still claiming that I guess that what they did wasn't wrong, or that it's a legal gray area, or
Well, they will probably say that some of the crap, the failed election scheme wasn't allowed into evidence. So, they'll appeal that evidence wasn't allowed.
oh well, there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just it's insane. Yeah. So, well, and going back to Weisselberg, so it wasn't just thousands. So Weisselberg, who was on paid leave from the company, spent 3 days on the witness stand. He pleaded guilty to 15 felonies for failing to pay taxes on 1.76 million
Mm-hmm.
in income. That's one employee. One employee receiving 1.76 million untaxed.
Right.
That's a lot of taxes.
Right.
Like, if that's the income, the taxes are pretty hefty on that.
Mm-hmm.
Which means he was quite well financed.
Well, not only was he well financed, but highly compensated for his job of this. And I find it interesting that he was so highly compensated for it. I mean, there's like ballpark regions of compensation that it's just unreal. So I wonder what he'd done for the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now, okay, so it looks like what Trump.org is trying to claim is summed up in a quote. Why would, and this is from one of the attorneys, why would a corporation whose owner knew nothing about Weisselberg's personal tax returns be criminally prosecuted for Alan Weisselberg's personal conduct for which they had no visibility or oversight?
Right.
This case was unprecedented and legally incorrect, is what she had to say in a statement. So what they're trying to claim as the company is that, well, we just gave him a gift card. He should have known he had to claim it on his taxes.
Right. Well, what I'm finding interesting is they didn't report it on the taxes.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're talking about 1.76 million. I mean, I think even the IRS would agree that if we were talking about a stupid $25 gift card, meh.
Right.
Meh. For most employees, like if your employer doesn't pay the taxes on that, you don't pay the taxes on that.
Right.
Is it a substantial misreporting?
Oh, I think it's substantial misreporting of anything that's not reported on your taxes.
Well, fair enough, but I'm sitting here going, we would be talking about like $1 or $2.
Right.
For that $25 gift card.
Right.
Even $100 gift card. Still, you're talking about $10. Is that a substantial representation of your income? Probably not.
Right.
But 1.76 million. Like, you're talking some pretty hefty taxes. Like, you're talking about hundreds of thousands in taxes potentially.
Yes.
That was avoided. So yeah, that's a lot of misrepresentation. And I think the what you would have to argue there, because I don't think the court saw it as having, credibility,
Right.
is that no, we had no idea why he wanted to take that money the way he did. Like,
Uh-huh.
basically, it's that the employee chose to receive their compensation that way.
Mm-hmm.
And we just didn't know what was going on.
Uh-huh. Shall we call stupid?
Okay, if you were talking about a couple $100, I think we'd all be like, okay, I could see that. I could see
Right.
that. Sure, they said they would file it on their personal taxes, and they didn't. And now we're talking about a misrepresentation of like $20.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, fine, whatever. You know what I mean? But when you start getting up to 1.76 million, I would think it would be in the best interest of any company
Mm-hmm.
to be like, why the hell do you want to take your income this way?
Well, what I don't get is why there wasn't a 1099 miscellaneous.
Well, that's what there should have been.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
No.
Like, they didn't. They just didn't.
Right.
And that's basically the argument here.
Mm-hmm.
And what the defense is trying,
Mm-hmm.
their very level best to argue, is that it's none of your company's business, like your employer's business,
Mm-hmm.
whether or not you file your taxes or whether or not you pay your taxes or whether or not, and that the employer should have no business
Right.
issuing these tax forms to declare that income
Right.
as something you have earned, that
Right.
it should be solely your responsibility to report all of your income to the IRS.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Right.
You're like, that is not, to me, a winning strategy. Like, that's
Right.
I don't see how that's going to work. And if it
Mm-hmm.
does, it's going to be ugly.
Right.
Like, that means the IRS is now going to have to be actually reliant
Right.
on your truthful statements on your tax returns,
Right.
because they're not going to have a clue.
Right.
They wouldn't have a clue if your
Right.
employer or anyone that employs you does not properly report the income that they're paying you,
Right.
or the money they're paying you. You can file whatever the hell you want to with the IRS. The IRS just has to go, okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I guess you're being truthful.
Right.
Uh-huh.
No. Documents. Like, there's supposed to be documents across the ages. There's supposed to be 1099s, 1099Ks, 1099Ds, W2s. And
it sounds like they produced the documents, but they didn't actually include the additional compensation.
Right.
Like, because that's the only way I can figure out that they've got them as well on falsifying business documents.
Right.
Is that you had to have done like the W-2 or the 1099 or both, right, and you did it in such a way that you reported it like that just didn't happen.
Right. Well,
like,
and there are many more suits that the Oompa Loompa and mini Oompa Loompas are involved in. There was a joke about apparently maybe West Virginia is the only state not suing them at this point. We will see if it's self-evident or if West Virginia will pick up suit. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. Without fail.
Oh, yeah.
Anyhow.
Oh, that we come on stream and then we get message? Yes.
Yes. Hi, Jessica.
Hey, Jessica.
But what I find interesting is, we've already got one in jail for, I believe, 10 years, and he has to cough up almost $1 million. We have, this is just now starting. It will be interesting to see what all plays out. Now, we did receive some sad news today. Was it yesterday that it was received? That Christy passed.
Yeah, Christy Alley passed.
Yeah.
I believe that was yesterday, at least the reporting.
Right.
So yeah, it was very sad to hear. Although I mean it's one of those respect her work, not really her opinions.
Yeah.
But she was a big fixture in the 80s and 90s.
Right.
So yeah,
You know,
it's a very big part.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was a big part of like what we saw on television, like Cheers and Look Who's Talking, and she had a hot moment there.
She had a very good hot moment.
Like her career was awesome, and then it seems like somewhere between her weight issues, which I mean, let's be fair, like she was in that kind of Elizabeth Taylor category of like night and day weight jumps, in which it does make it very hard for your career to figure out, okay, what do we do with you?
Right.
Like, you know, like it's kind of like having Ally McBeal and Kathy Bates in the same body.
Right.
And it's like, we don't know what to do with you if every 6 months you're going to weight jump.
Right.
And so between that and her political opinions.
You know, her political opinions, her religious views.
Well, yeah, that too.
You know, unfortunately, you know, she, like many Hollywood stars, joined the Church of Scientology. And they have some interesting ideas on health and keeping care of health and that type of thing.
There is that.
Yeah. You know, and what's interesting is this cancer is like 90% curable that she died from. So it's like, what is this? But no, it was saddened to hear that, you know, Rebecca from Cheers passed. I guess we're moving on into the generations there.
Yeah. Well, and you have to sit there and think, like, she was a fully grown adult, probably in her late 20s when she was doing Cheers, wasn't she?
No, I think she was in her 30s, because if she was 71 now and Cheers was in the 80s.
There's your 40 years. So, yeah, she was in her 30s.
Yeah.
When she did the show, that's kind of a...
Yeah. That's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot of intervening years.
All right. And if anybody wonders what I'm talking about, I highly recommend go read Troublemaker. I think that will be that's a lovely book, and I need to go and look and see who, I can never remember her name. Liam Reaming.
Okay. But yes, was very sad news.
Yes.
So.
See if this link will work.
Okay, so what is Troublemaker?
Troublemaker is a book by that exposes Scientology. Of course, I know everyone has seen the. Okay, fine then. I'll go to Betty Link and get it. It talks about Leon Remedy going to one of the big posh weddings and noticing that the Scientologist leader's wife isn't there. And that would be like me going somewhere and Joe not being there.
Yeah, that's going to spark some questions. Like, where's Joe? What's Joe doing?
Yeah.
Actually, it has before when you've taught classes.
Yes.
And I'm just like, and I was just in the car. Yeah. Like, well, because my theory was, you know, this is your event. You go do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't need to supervise you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a class. You can go do that all by your little self.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I am not worried you're going to fall and hit your little head.
Well, it's debatable sometimes, depending on the classes.
Well, this is true.
Right.
But, you know, like,
Right.
I'm, no, just not required.
Yeah. So there's the book. Looks like we got a question or two, and we'll take those in a minute. If you're able to see them, apparently Facebook is having some more issues. But no, it goes through her life in Scientology, what her family's gone through, and then her stepping out of that view. And it was really interesting when I read it, because it's like that. Yes, they are.
Mm-hmm. Jessica, we do see your question. We're just wrapping up this segment, and then we will hop into that.
Yeah. So it is about her life in Scientology, and then her getting out of Scientology and deconstructing it and going, "Oh my God, I thought this, this, and this, and none of that's true.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is this?" You know.
Well, and that's in a lot of religions,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of cults,
Yes.
and a lot of cult-like systems.
Mm-hmm.
A large part of their success
Right.
is the inability, or your personal inability, to stop and think.
Right.
Being constantly bombarded and surrounded by people who at least outwardly express the same beliefs.
Right.
And, you know, are like, this is what you talk about. This is how you talk about it. This is what is going on constantly.
Right.
You don't question it. And then the point you start questioning,
Mm-hmm.
like, you pull that little tiny string of going, you know, I'm minuten bitten. Wait a minute.
Uh-huh.
That didn't make any sense. And then it's like dominoes.
Right.
Like, you pull the one little string to question something, and it just kind of keeps jumping
Mm-hmm.
from spot to spot to spot. Um, that's sort of where most of them fall apart. Most, like, as in, you know, most religions, or especially those with culty aspects.
Right.
That's usually where they fall apart, is once you start to question anything. It's like you have to question everything. And then once you do that, you see how loose and shaky the foundation is of the thing.
Well, not only that, but you start seeing through things. And you know, I followed, you know, I bought the book when it first came out. I've looked into it, and it's a good book. What's interesting is how much hate it got.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, they pay people to hate this book.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So we have a question. Let's take a question.
All right. So Jessica, June 14th of 89. I have a question about someone that offered me something. She doesn't have their birthday.
Don't need it.
So Julius asked or offered something. And she just wants to make sure that it's not that there's nothing they're trying to get out of her.
I thought we're trying to get a product out of her, or a activity out of her. It's not a here, you know, here's this, just take it forever. I feel like that, you know, there's going to be a partnership there. You need to really look and make sure you have a contract and some goals into it. It's going to be a lot of trying to handle things, but it does lead to you stepping away from some things and being able to move forward.
Okay. So she should, knowing that it is going to be a tit for tat,
correct,
do this?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about some techie stuff that I found interesting.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Dottie the Psychic, and I'm sure you're wondering why I'm not wearing any makeup. Well, one reason is to irritate my social media manager, Aeson Knight. Hi, Aeson. The other reason is because I like to get to the naked truth about what it means to be a neurodivergent LGBT person with psychic abilities. I've got vlogs, blogs, and podcasts and videos all related to trying to live my best life and helping witches and bitches do the same thing. So, you can check all that out and get a reading from Dottie the Psychic at DOTTIEthepsychic.com. Safe travel and much profit to you.
Do you have a cute pet? We know you do. Each week, Tracy Van chooses from submitted photos a featured reader for her Facebook page and provides a tarot reading. Your adorable pet cat, dog, rabbit, goat, chicken, snake, or more could be her next featured reader. Visit tracybann.com, TracyBann.com, and click Featured Reader to submit. We look forward to seeing your pet next.
Hey everybody, Lady Gwendolyn here, and I am here to tell you how to get in contact with me and a little bit about what I do. I am the High Priestess that works with shadow work to help you grow and heal. And I work with access bars, Reiki, I do power forms. I'm recently getting into crystal healing, sound therapy as well. So you can go to Lady Gwendolyn Healing, that is LadyGwendolynHealing.com. Book your appointment with me. I do in person, I do over the phone, I do over Zoom. We can do that as well. My main goal is to help you grow and heal, because I've been there, I'm still going through it, and I let my strength help guide you. See you soon.
Hey everybody, Natalie here from The Pendulum's Path. If you are in need of guidance, direction, spiritual connection, healing, or more, you have come to the right place. I have worked as a psychic and a medium for over 3 years, connecting people from all over the world with their loved ones, giving them insight and guidance into their current situations, their past healings, their blockages, and what they need to know in order for them to have a better future. It would be my absolute honor if you would come to my website at www.thependulumspath.com. Visit my shop. I have a whole bunch of crystals, oils, balms, mystery boxes, and more. And visit my services. I offer 15-minute, 30-minute, and 60-minute sessions. I also have email readings available if you're not comfortable with the one-on-one session with me, or if you just want to try me out. I encourage you to come visit me at the Pendulum's Path, and let's get you back on the right track today.
All right, welcome back. Okay, so in Techie in the news.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Microsoft's not happy. Windows 11 is still not the winning OS. It is not most popular.
Right.
And Microsoft's getting a little cranky about that. So they have now, as part of the open the box experience, added in the option. Basically what's going to happen is you open the box, you start to set it up. It's going to start searching for updates like it does. And immediately it's going to try to push you to go Windows 11 if that is Windows 10.
Mm-hmm.
That you are opening the box to.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now it is very, very slow in its numbers. Like they are, as of November, 16.12% of Windows users were on Windows 11. That's up less than a percentage point over October. And basically, Microsoft is finding that anemic and probably a little scary.
Right.
Since Windows 10, while slipping below the 70% mark to 69%, Windows 7, Windows 8.1 are both growing in their use.
Yeah.
But they're also seeing, like older Windows 8 was up, as well as Windows XP.
Well, a lot of people liked XP. A lot of businesses are still on XP, which scares the hell out of me. Like, why are government offices still on XP?
Here's the wackadoodle part of this. And the reason that companies can be so sluggish to respond to new Windows updates is because of what are effectively legacy systems. And what we mean when we say legacy systems in IT are systems that were developed and are still in use, but aren't necessarily maintained. And a lot of those were built before more modern browsers, before more modern, web standards, before more modern software, and may not be compatible.
Right.
Like, quite frankly, trying to access this system or, and of course, run this system on a more modern version of Windows or with more modern systems,
right,
doesn't work.
Yeah.
Just doesn't work. So typically companies are a little sluggy in the very, very beginning.
Right.
Because it takes time to figure that out. Like, okay, if we upgrade all of our systems, can we support all of our software?
Right.
And all of our hardware without making substantially expensive changes? Right. Or planning out those substantially expensive changes, or getting developers to create the thing, or make it compatible in some way. So traditionally companies are kind of slow.
Right.
Couple that with, this is not a beloved version of Windows.
No.
Not to mention that the minimum threshold to go to this version of Windows pretty much ensures that a lot of consumers have to totally replace their hardware because it is not supported.
Right.
So the fact that Microsoft is getting cranky about this, it's sort of like, hi, here's your V8. This was a bridge too far.
Right.
Like, you went too far in your minimum requirements, which obsoleted a lot of hardware. Prematurely, because some of the hardware it obsoleted is actually decent, like more than decent hardware.
Right.
And when you're talking about that in a business sense, especially after the panini,
yes,
in which a number of businesses, most businesses, had to do a massive tech outlay,
right,
to fit their workers to be able to work from home, and a lot of consumers had to buy new systems to be able to work from home. It's a bit of a struggle to take 1-2-year-old systems,
right,
and chunk them.
Right. Well, this is a question that I'm sure you get a lot. What is the average lifespan of a standard user's computer?
Depends. Now, I say that, and here's the deal. If you want to go with averages, 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
That's where most business cycling occurs, is on a 3 to 5 year cycle. Usually your executives and your heavily production based staff, like the people that really crunch their systems,
Right.
Like they're doing massive creative process.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna, and of course your executives, because the C-suite likes their shiny.
Right.
That's usually 3 years or less.
Right.
On like, I will tell you right now, that's how that works out. And then most IT departments are looking for about a 5-year at most replacement cycle for the rest of their users, if they can do so at all.
Wow.
That's where most IT departments are at. If basically if we can eke out 5 years on a $300, $400, $500 machine,
Right.
back in the day it was a $300 machine. You got it. It was the Dell Optiplex special of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Or a very similar kind of thing.
Right.
And it was a nice system, but it wasn't a forever system. It's great for basic office tasks and doing all the general office stuff. Not meant for you to sit there and run Photoshop on, or crunch video, or do any of the big production things.
Right.
It's about $300, $400, $500 probably now.
Right.
Yeah, we expect to get to amortize that at about $100 a year at most,
Right.
over 5 years.
Right.
That in 5 years that asset's depleted. For those businesses that have to go a little bit higher end,
Mm-hmm.
usually those are leased systems.
Mm-hmm.
And that lease is usually no more than 3 to 4 years.
Right.
Because of course, like if you're Dell or whichever company you lease from, you have to take those systems back.
Right.
And you have to hope that there's still a market left to
Right.
buy them. So that's why the leases, much like car leases, are so much shorter, and usually they're much nicer systems.
Right.
But usually it either flips back into a home consumer secondary market, or it flips back into a like releasing
Right.
for businesses who don't need quite as much power.
Right.
Like basically you'll take some decent systems at 3 to 4 years and then release those to consumers that are very basic office tasks.
And that's
like it's what a lot of your nonprofits run on.
Right. Well, and we, I don't know, how old are ours?
Oh gosh. So yours is roughly, I think, 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. Mine's kind of all over the map.
Right.
Because parts of, like, mine is a custom build, so of course it's had some upgrades over time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the Joan Rivers really of computers. Parts of it are old. But no, technical build of the system was probably 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Was the original build. Like I still have some original parts in there. Some key components are about 5 years old.
Yeah.
Which technically should have been able, or theoretically would have been more than capable of the next version of Windows without any problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not slouchy hardware. It was expensive then.
Yeah, it's still expensive now.
It's still expensive now, like to rebuild the system as spec.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it would still be pretty expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been my personal problem with upgrading it.
Mm-hmm.
Is the next step in its evolution is again going to be a very costly upgrade.
Well, not only that, but that evolution is about the same product. I mean, because we had that discussion when Windows 11 came out, because we had a problem with Windows 11 in your machine.
Oh, immediately. And that has to do with my processor.
Mm-hmm.
Because I made the decision 5 years ago. AMD had this lovely new processor out. Most of you will recognize the Ryzen AMD brand. What you may not recognize is the adjunct to that, which is the Ryzen Threadripper. I went Threadripper, which is a little bit different than just your standard, mommy's got her recipes on this processor. This is a more advanced 8-core processor capable of supporting 16 threads. So it's basically like each of those 8 cores is like running 2 separate processors in capability. Oh, poor Shannon's late. You're not late. You've just arrived fashionably. But no, so I struggle at this point on a system with an 8-core processor, and 56 gigs of RAM. I'm still running great. And I can't, my desktop was meant to be not only a long-term investment, because I spent quite a pretty penny building it. It was also meant to be a long-term evolution. That this wasn't where the story ended. And then, we chunk this one entirely and then buy a whole new system to replace it. One, I just don't really like doing that. And 2, when I actually have the funds to do it properly, I do like my long-term evolving systems. Where, this is spendy. But it's a damn good system. It's like, and not to say that he has a crappy computer, but there are, he has a very nice computer. If I were to be forced at gunpoint, I would take it happily. But not for the system that I have. Okay.
I was going to say, what?
No. Because there's still a comparison. He goes to Crunch Video, and his is pretty speedy at it. And mine does it probably twice as fast. That's the level of differential that 2 years ago when we bought him a system, it was also fairly expensive. What was that, $3,000?
We paid $4,000.
Yeah. So your system was $3,000.
No, we paid $4,000.
Oh, we paid $4,000. Excuse me. Yeah, so $4,000 on his system. Versus when I built mine was, I think, close to $6,000.
But at the same time, I'm hoping to get 3 years out of this, maybe 4. It's already having problems accepting wireless now. And it's because Aeson processes a lot of data.
Well, yeah, you're running all the facets of your business in a market that now requires you to do a whole lot more than it did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. The evolution of your business is insane. The evolution of most small businesses has been insane over the last 5, 10, 15 years.
Well, that, and my business has changed because I'm not just a psychic reader anymore. I'm a psychic reader. I'm a content creator. I'm a podcaster. I'm a facilitator. I'm, if I get one more I ams.
Yeah, I know, right?
My shirt, my hello patch is going to be I'm going to look like one of the generals from war with just different badges down through it.
But I think that speaks to everyone, though, running a small business right now. Is that, it's not just the old school hats that you had to wear. Your payroll and accounting, and you're also, all these business functions. Now, the addition is, and you're a social media manager, and you're, an influencer, and you're a podcaster streamer, And
Yeah.
you know, that used like the old like differing hats
Right.
used to be a lot for small businesses.
Right.
We've moved to an area or to an era in which it can be downright like smack you upside the head with a baseball bat, the number of hats you have to wear in one day.
Right. Well, you know, this is something we've discussed, and I've done it before, and I'm about ready to do it again. Is running more than one computer. Like I'm an inch from doing that again because you know, we're running a $4,000 system here. And there are times I'm maxing that system out. Like my little clock pops up there and says, "Is it a coffee break yet?" Because I'm tired.
Oh, your clock cycles need a coffee break. That's the
you know, the word overclock isn't a thought here.
No.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that kind of speaks to exactly what all we're doing and to what all we're having to do.
Right.
Just to stay relevant in the current business market.
Right.
Is, you know, a few years, well, literally when we bought this system, it was overkill. Like 2 years ago, this system was overkill. And I looked at you and went, that'll do it. I mean, they like as in sledgehammer for, you know, a finishing nail, but okay, cool. Won't have to worry about upgrading you for a while. Famous last
T words.
But no, seriously, at the time, it was absolutely overkill. And
okay,
it's like, you'll be fine.
Funny moment.
Okay.
And an influencer, your TikTok made me jump and hang my head. Let's go into this a moment, shall we? We've got time.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we got some time.
So, you know, I've started the WMT system in the house. And I go to work on the mouse, work on the floors.
Shannon says, Joe, even I know that in 2 years it's probably not going to be much in terms of what's going to be available. No, we knew that. But at the time, the level he was at, it was like, that would more than do it. And I could foresee like a good solid 3-4 years. And I'm going, okay, $1,000 a year. That's okay. Go for it.
Yeah.
Now we're 2 years in and it's like, I'm just waiting for it. I know it's coming. I know he's going to be absolutely ticked one day and it's going to be a whole new.
Well, no, I've gotten used to, you know, whatever that is, it's going to change.
Yeah.
You know, earlier today, you know, we finished off 3 of our lease agreements and I got a text message going, okay, what's next?
Because his agent knows him so well.
Exactly. Knows me well, knows what I want, knows about the time. Like, I love my leasing agent. She will have things ready for me, or she will call the company and go, we need to get this ready because I know that he's going to have to replace it. Let me just reach out to him. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't appreciate her very much for that because sometimes she just messages you and goes, shiny. And I'm like, no, please don't. Like,
well, and to be honest, the system she currently has, I still have the top horse there.
Yeah.
So we're not ready to replace the bat machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I figure about the first of the year, she's going to go hunting.
Yeah, she's going to start hunting. Yeah, because I think I'm her test. She has a lot of small business owners. Normally they rent washers and dryers from her. I rent computers. And she will probably start hunting for the next big computer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and I think you set the curve for the gamers. Because it's like, well, if it'll survive you, it's a damn good gaming system.
Right.
Which is true. That's the level of purchasing that we end up having to do. Is like, it's a phenomenal gaming rig even right now.
Yes.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
poor disenfranchised gamers
Yeah.
would love to have your computer.
Well, poor disenfranchised gamers would die to have my computer, and you know, when it goes to the aftermarket, we may see about decommissioning and putting it up for sale.
Yeah.
But you know, my agent is wonderful. I'm sure she will text me the next great thing. She got your iPad for me. I'm sure she's going to be doing that. Shannon, honey,
we don't need to.
love you.
We don't need to.
We don't need to.
No. He has like a 20-year relationship with this one employee.
Yes.
Like
I have her home phone number to call her if there's a problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, if we split up, he gets to keep her.
Yes.
Like, we planned this, like, we talked it out. Like, you know, that's a contact he keeps.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even try to poach her. I have to go find my own.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she's saying if you go looking for something and she can't find it, hers can. And then he can be like, I hear you're looking for these. Yes.
And maybe they'll trade around or whatever, because she's pulled like the red gaming chair, she pulled those from Arizona.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they came out of the warehouse out of Arizona. I mean, you know, she's good. She's really good, but you know, we've worked that relationship really well.
She earns her commissions. I will say that. She earns her commission.
Yes. And she knows how I want an agreement, and she'll just like,
okay, whatever.
Okay, yeah, you're just paying all this off right before Christmas. Thanks.
All right. So TikTok.
All right. So
back to TikTok before Brenda explodes.
We go to Walmart because I looked at the mop, and I was like, "This can't fly."
Yeah, no, our mop died. Basically.
Yeah,
it was on its last leg.
It was on its last leg, and I'm like, okay, we got to go to Walmart anyhow. I need some degreaser. I need this, and I need a new mop pad. I want to go see what they have. And so we go. We get 100% cotton mop because that's what I want. It looks nice. It looks pretty. It's great. We go up to the register. And we're scanning. Click, click, click. It's like 15 minutes to close because, of course, we finished the show and went to Walmart. This is a pattern of behavior for us. And we look at it, and it won't let us check out. The woman walks over, scans her ID, pop, 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 enter, cards me, basically. And I'm like, what the hell did we buy? We've got 2 bottles of degreaser, 1 candle, and a tablecloth and a mop. And she said the mop pad. I am like, what the hell do people do with mop pads? I get cough syrup, I get sinus medicine, I even get lighters and lighter fluid. But mop pads?
It's cotton mop pad. If that makes a difference to anyone out there, it is a cotton mop pad.
Exactly.
I mean, old school cotton mop pad.
Right.
Like, like ye old grandma used to have.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know.
Right.
People rolling it up to smoke with. Okay.
Huh?
Seriously, we have no idea. Like, what can you, like, and I feel afraid to ask this question, but, like, what the hell can you do with a mop that requires this to now be a carding item? Like, or an age verification item. Are you 18 and over? Like, I mean, I can even understand, like, Sharpies and spray paint. Like, you know what I mean? Okay, I can follow it. Like, whatever. Mop heads. So Brenda's thinking fuses. Which is the only thing that we've come up with that makes any sense is like your first comment was like Molotov cocktails. Like, are they using the strings? We're just looking for like, does anyone know the actual justification for this? Because it's kind of what? Like, what is this replacing? Like for like I don't get it, because I don't get it. I mean, basically like a bunch of wicks. That's where I'm at. I mean, granted, mop strings are probably the world's shittiest wick, but. And I mean, like, is there a problem with cotton yarn? Like, if I were to buy cotton yarn, was it for the mop head? We were using a card to pay, but it was literally locked onto that mop head.
Yeah.
It popped up as an age verification item. And it's like, what? Because we hadn't even got to payment card.
It wouldn't let us.
No, like, it did a full stop on the register. Like, we had picked up like 50 pounds of Dimetap. You know what I mean? Like, Like, it was that level of lockout. Like, you cannot have that much Robitussin.
Right.
Full stop. Like, and we're just standing there like, what in the kinky layers of hell are people doing with mop heads that this is now a card, an age verification item? Yeah. Like, is it like is it a miscode? Is it really not supposed to be the item? Like, did someone just miscode and like our register thought it was an alcoholic beverage or something? Like, that's what I'm starting to wonder. Is it is it a miskey and like and a bunch of kids are now able to buy like wine coolers or something because someone coded it wrong?
No.
Yeah, I've never been carded for cotton yarn. I would think that would be your better first choice than a mop head. If like you're trying to do, like, and that's just my opinion, but I mean, at least that is like one continuous strand that you can cut to whatever desired length you need. Yeah. But even still, I'm going.
Again, I'm not finding anything. And even if I go to Walmart, which I can go to Walmart and look at the mop head.
Oh, you can make a flaming javelin out of a mop. Okay.
Yeah, Molotov cocktail.
Well, no. She's talking about flaming javelin. Like, you soak the thing in like whatever flammable liquid and then hurl.
Right.
That's a flaming javelin. I do. Okay. Like, is that seriously it? Like, that's enough of a problem that we now have to be ID'd for mops and mop heads? Like, what did she think what does the store think we did? Like, we already burned up one, or do what?
That was my whole point, is what the fuck did we do? Like, what in the 7 layers of the goddess have people done to the point that they now age verify for a mop head? You cannot send your 16. I can go into Walmart. I can buy a shovel with a tarp and duct tape and a bag of lime and not get age verified for any of that.
No, but they will be recording that transaction and marking it later as suspicious in case anyone shows up missing or dead.
What? I'm just fixing my rose garden. You got to feed them and cover them for the frost and all that. But I have to have my ID to buy a mop head.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, yeah. Brenda was loving your TikTok, though, because of the tone of, what did you do? What did you do?
Yeah.
What did you do?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, that's where we're at. Like, it's like, what did y'all do?
Yeah.
What did you do?
Yeah.
Because that was a first, and that
Yeah.
is the weirdest one.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say that in that lovely moment in which I had not yet replaced my identification, and my dumb self tried to buy cough syrup for him, I expected when I was standing in line at Kroger that, like, you know, like, there's going to be the "Are you over 18" moment.
Mm-hmm.
I expected, okay, here's my expired license. I know it's expired. I have a few days to get it replaced.
Right.
I expect, to just have that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect them to scan the back of it and link it to the transaction and do the full verification that is a valid driver's license.
Well, that's because that actually goes to the DEA now monthly.
I'm just sitting here going, really? Seriously? It's that much of a problem?
I'm wondering now, well, she didn't scan her ID, but I'm wondering, she just entered a birth date. I'm one because I think she was just as stupidly as annoyed. Like, God.
Well, no, she was like, what?
Yeah.
Why? Like, she didn't get it either.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that she had seen this pop up before for that item.
No.
Like, and that was the moment we're having, is like, are you kidding me?
Right.
Like, are you kidding me? Oh, Shannon says, only if you pay with a card, use cash, unless they scan your actual license.
Yeah.
Because that will attach your license or ID directly to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Hi, Ronald. How's it going this evening?
Yeah. But no, I was just shocked and amazed, and I'm glad you liked the TikTok. I'm glad you liked the tone of my voice. I think that's probably the first time on TikTok I've used that tone.
Oh yeah, it's the first time we've used that tone, because it was just a whole moment there of like,
what the fuck did you do?
Someone please explain this.
Yep.
Because, and I assume someone had to do something.
Right.
Oh yeah. Brenda points out, I could buy one box of a certain over-the-counter sinus med, but got treated like a terrorist for trying to buy two.
Yes.
Picking up the other for a sick friend while out. Oh no, I understand this, because buried in my TikTok is the experience, and I swear to God, I was the one that ruined our relationship with Walmart Pharmacy.
Mm-hmm.
And because in thinking back on it, it was a series of unfortunate events, and I don't know if it was just we kicked off with that series of unfortunate events, the spidey senses of that pharmacist incorrectly, or if that pharmacist was just way oversensitive.
I think we were hitting what I call the rainbow barrier.
I don't know if it was the rainbow barrier, because in looking back, like, you were doing okay with Walmart Pharmacy.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, you were already having problems. Okay, then never mind. It wasn't my fault.
Happy with Walmart Pharmacy. I had not been happy with them for a while over my medication. Like, they would make me wait to one pill in any prescription. I'm talking myself one pill. Then they would refill it.
Well, but see, here's what happened is I moved up here at a point in which I am, pre-surgical for a neck issue. I'm in the middle of immunotherapy for my allergies and just getting approved to do those at home. That means I showed up at a brand new pharmacy.
Right.
Having, I don't know, maybe 2 refills ever done there.
Right.
All of a sudden, I have prescriptions coming in from Morgantown, West Virginia, Princeton, West Virginia. And one of those prescriptions is for a box of needles.
Yeah.
For the allergy injections.
Yes.
that I've now been approved to do from home. And that was the end of that relationship. Like, that was like the moment for me where we went from like, I don't like you,
to I will have your license.
well, no. Well,
yeah, sorry, that's where I went.
I was talking about from his perspective when he went from I don't like you, or not very friendly, whatever, to it became an utter nightmare getting anything refilled in this house for anyone.
Right.
Like, the level of scrutiny, I don't know who this doctor is. Not only do I need your doctor's office to verify this, I need to speak to your physician to verify this. And it's hi, I'm not on heavy duty controlled substances. Like, I had no opiates at that point.
No.
I got opiates in a very small window after surgery. We'd already changed pharmacies.
No, like, when we changed pharmacy was the gabapentin.
Oh, yeah.
When he threw a fit over fucking allergy medicine, and I cussed him down one side and on the other. And I looked at him and said, and I will be calling it Arkansas and having a conversation with your head department. And he looked at me and said, you can fucking do that. And I said, watch me.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't there for the last conversation. Like, that's when I found out we were changing pharmacies. And I didn't ask any questions because I was like, fair.
Yeah, because I used the dad tone, and he's like, oh, fuck, there is no chance of bringing him back from that.
No. And I was done with him. Like, I didn't care anymore. Oh, yeah. Like, yeah. Oh, God. Shannon had to get a prescription to get 2 boxes. Oh, my God. For the over-the-counter sinus meds. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, it was an insane nightmare. Like, nothing. And, like, okay, I could have understood if he had problems with my personal prescriptions.
Right.
Because at the moment, I was in a couple of weird places with them. Allergy meds and trying to, like, pre-surgically work this with my neck. And yes, this is at the height of opioid pandemic. And I get that, whatever. Fine. None of my doctors are writing anything heavy duty.
Right.
So, but like,
we have no Schedule 2s.
Pardon?
At that point, we had no Schedule 2 medications.
But it wasn't just that. He was glitching out on everything.
Yes.
Every single prescription we had. It didn't matter, is this a blood pressure medication? Is this an allergy medication? It, like, didn't give a shit.
Right.
All of it got flagged by him for additional verification, and he did not give a shit.
Yeah, and even
like, hi, I'm calling in, it's a holiday weekend or whatever, and like, everything's going to be closed on Monday, and we have to wait till we have 1 pill left because you're that shitty of a pharmacy. Oh yeah, no, we have to wait and talk to the doctor.
Yeah.
Okay, my doctor's not going to be in until Tuesday, dude.
Exactly.
Like,
clue. But anyhow, no. And at that point, I was just like, I'm calling Arkansas. And he is no longer there, by the way. But I still went back to that pharmacy. No, he was fired after the conversation I had it with Arkansas.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Like, I never followed up with that on you. I was like, he earns whatever he gets.
Well, and what he earned was, you got a nice call from the Customer Relations Center. And he got a nice stack of write-ups and a corporate executive calling, going, why are you not doing your job?
Yeah.
Hey,
Kenny.
Hi, Kenny.
But no, it was just an all-out, like, I had never seen this out of any pharmacy. And so I blamed myself. I was like, it was the needles.
Not you, baby boy. Not you.
Well,
because he should have freaked over my medicines.
Yeah, well, but I thought, like, it was the needles. It had to have been the needles. Like, I hit a nerve with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I could understand that. Like, that's what I logically made sense out of it as, is it was the needles.
Yeah.
It had to have been the needles because that was also, I believe, about the time that Charleston was going nuts over needles.
No.
Or just before it. Like, there
just
was
after it.
Okay, just after it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was right. But it was like right there on the heel of it. Like, everyone's pissed off in the state about needles and needle exchange, and all the junkies, and they just leave their needles everywhere, and blah 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 blah. And we need retractable needles, and da 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 da. It was in that mix, and I'm like, it had to have been the needles.
Right.
It had to have been them.
It was insanity at its best. All right, guys, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll be finding out if he's the asshole.
All righty.
Welcome back, Goblins! My name is Jason, and I am the host of the Esoteric Book Club, a podcast that examines titles on the magical, paranormal, the mysterious, and the strange. I release 2 episodes a month in which I review books on esoteric topics, recap news of the weird, and conduct interviews with authors, practitioners, and experiencers. The Esoteric Book Club can be found on every major podcast service or can be streamed directly from esotericbookclub.org.
Hi, I'm Tracy Van. I provide a blended reading consisting of mediumship, psychic, and tarot cards. A reading from me can cover any guidance you need from relationships with your partner or your family, spiritual, financial, any questions you may need clarity on. If you would like to book an appointment with me, check out my website, tracyvann.com. That's TRACYVANN.com. I have bookings from 15 to 60 minutes you may choose from. That helps if you just have a quick question, need an answer, or if you're looking for a reading in more depth, I'm here to provide the guidance and clarity for you. Let's just figure it out. Bye.
Hi, Techie Joe here. I work with Aeson Knight and some of the best psychics in West Virginia to create amazing live streams and podcasts for the Psychic Coffee Shop Network. Together, we brew up great content discussing news, events, hot topics, and more, all from a psychic perspective. On the Psychic Coffee Shop, we interview amazing authors in the metaphysical realm. Coffee and Tea combines Aeson with Tracy, Dottie, Natalie, or Lady Gwendolyn for the good and the bad of being a psychic. Shameless Self-Promotion with Dottie the Psychic talks to leading and emerging YouTubers and business owners in our community. Mountain Bears brings you the latest in LGBT news and politics. The Psychic That Plans answers the question of, well, how a psychic plans. Plus, we're live on air. We take your comments and your questions, including psychic advice questions. Check out our amazing programming, book an appointment with top psychics, and find out all the wonderful things we have to offer at PCSBnetwork.com today.
Hi, I'm Aeson Knight. I provide tarot readings covering everything from love and relationships to your life questions and your most spiritual answers. And also, I provide a lot of guidance in finances and divorces and all those relationship problems. So, if you'd like to get a reading from me privately, not on air, you can feel free to do so by visiting aesonknight.com and booking your appointment. I also provide on-demand services, so if your life is a little chaotic, you can go ahead and click that call now button there on my site, right, for a quick answer question. All right, guys, back to the show. Enjoy. All right.
Just helping our guests out.
Yep.
Oh, we never mind plugging Jason. He is awesome with the Esoteric Book Club, and so hopefully that link will get you right over to him. He does a really great podcast, and we hope you enjoy it as much as you guys are enjoying the show. Because we are seeing your live comments.
Yeah.
So like we're really here.
Yeah.
So all right, am I the asshole for getting a tattoo my mother hates and takes as a personal attack?
Right.
I, male 38, have a lot of tattoos. It's just something I like. My mom hates each and every one. My mom, 61, loves me and I love her. She does, however, have the most annoying hobby in the world. She loves asking me questions that I have no way of knowing the answer to. For example, this summer I came to my cousin, female 24's, wedding. I have not seen my cousin in 7 years. I live in a different state, but she asked me how my cousin met her fiance. I literally only knew about the wedding because my mom told me. I will tell my mom that my son, 12, is out at a friend's house for the night. She will ask me where my son's friend's parents went to school. These aren't even the most extreme examples. The worst was when she asked me how my sister got pregnant since her and her husband were using the Nuva ring for birth control. Like, how the would I know? Well, she asked me about my brother-in-law's shoe size a week ago. I saw her. Excuse me. Let me back up. So I told her if she kept asking me questions like that, I was going to tattoo the words "no sé" on my forearm. That's Spanish for I don't know. Well, she asked about my brother-in-law's shoe size a week ago. I saw her today and my arm had the Sanoderm on it from the fresh tattoo. So she shuddered, crossed herself, and asked what I defiled my body with now. So I showed her. She got upset and called me pendejo sinvergüenza, basically a shameless idiot. And now she is mad at me for desecrating my body to make a childish point and embarrass her. I said that I told her hundreds of times to please stop asking me questions that I had no way of answering. She said she was just making conversation. I think she finally gets the point, but my dad called me and said I was an asshole for permanently marking my body to make my mom think twice before asking me a question. Am I the asshole? Oh, Kenny, I'm with you. I think she's the asshole.
Well,
like,
I think
OP's not the asshole.
I don't think OP's the asshole. Like, no, OP is not the asshole, but you can vote. Please feel free to vote. We will give the verdict after we do the relationship advice question. And yeah, we're hitting moms tonight. I don't think she's the asshole. I just think she's bored. I think mom needs a new hobby.
I think it's one of those things, these thoughts come into her head and they come out of her mouth and she just doesn't stop to process. How the hell would he know that?
Right.
Why am I asking him that?
Right.
Either that or it's one of those weird phrasing turns.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as in, like, if she just put in front of it, like, I wish I knew what your brother-in-law's shoe size was.
Mm-hmm.
Or, oh, those names sound familiar. I wonder if your son's friend's parents went to such and such school.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, as in, I think what he's having problems with is sometimes a conversational problem we have.
Right.
Which I'm like, price of tea in China. What in the hell is that related to?
Yeah.
You just dropped 3 words on me that have no connection to each other in my damn brain. And yes, Kenny, we're seeing Ronald's comments.
Yes.
As well. And yes, it is hilarious.
Yeah.
But no, I just I have those moments too. It can be really irritating. You've gotten better over time.
Well, thank you.
Realizing I need more.
Right.
I need more than 3 words. They're totally seemingly random and unrelated because this is not what 3 words, the navigation program or the navigation concept. It does nothing for me. It locates nothing. when, like, because he'll do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you just phrase it a little different.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I got it. I know what you're talking about. And I think this might be the same problem here, is it's like if mom would rephrase that statement and like get better at how she says it, and like, oh, I wonder what your, brother-in-law shoe size is because, and like link it to the thing going on in her head instead of just blurting it out.
Right. Again, I think that we've got some son adoration going on here. I think mom needs a new hobby other than asking her son information. And I don't think that he's an asshole for getting a tattoo. I think that it's, as long as there is a story, and she should rectify that the idea there is not to embarrass her, but to remember that he doesn't know everything.
Or moreover, I think he got it for the exact reason she thinks he got it, and that dad has said that he got it, which is to point out to her, can you please think twice before you ask me stupid random crap?
Right. And this is one of the things that I really believe in, that all tats should have a story.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think all tats end up ultimately having a story, and sometimes that story just isn't all that great. It's the more common, I was drunk one night. Yeah. And my friends talked me into X.
And, that's why I think that, there should be a waiting period on tattoos, just in general.
Well, generally, there basically is. Your tattoo artist should not tattoo you while you are inebriated in any form. There's actually laws regarding that. Unfortunately, there are also disreputable tattoo artists who'll do it anyway.
Well, not only that, but there are people that learn tattooing in some locations. Now, granted, there are some gorgeous ones. My nephew has a beautiful sleeve. Love his artwork, and he done it himself.
Yes, though we do have problems with that tattoo, not because he covered himself in art, but because of where and how he did it.
Don't matter.
Well, no, it matters. Don't tattoo yourself with ballpoint pen ink, please.
Yeah.
Please don't do that. Like, I don't care how much you want a tattoo. Please don't do that.
Right, but it's gorgeous.
Oh yeah, it's great. He did beautiful work. None of us have a problem with the work he did.
Yeah.
It's just, dude.
Yep.
Not ballpoint pen ink, man.
Yep.
God.
Right.
Kenny says once you get one, you'll want more. They are the Pringles of body modification, aren't they?
Exactly. I've got 3 more to get. And then we'll see where we go from there.
Hey, there you go. All right. So relationship advice.
Yes. Let's move over to relationship advice.
Oh, back to the mamas again. So my widow mother wants to go everywhere with my husband and I, and it drives me crazy. My father died 5 years ago. Ever since then, my mom has been my responsibility. She sold her house and moved into the same apartment complex as me, which I was against from the start. When my husband and I go grocery shopping or go to Target or anywhere, she wants to come. She calls me first thing in the morning on Saturdays to ask what we are doing. We want to go away for a weekend. She wants to come. She calls every night to see what we are having for dinner. If we go out to eat, she has to come with us. I feel smothered here. I moved out only a few months before my father died, and now I feel like we might as well still live together. I feel like I have to make sure she is fed and she has groceries. If I tell her she can't come somewhere with us, she mopes. I lie to her about where we are and what we are going to do, and I feel terrible about it. I didn't answer her phone call, so she called me 4 more times, texted me twice, and started blowing up my husband's phone, all in the span of 10 minutes. We haven't gone on a honeymoon yet because she keeps saying she wants to come because she has no one to travel with. She has a part-time job and friends there. When I ask her why she doesn't hang out with them, she tells me they're just work friends, not real friends. I can't take it anymore. I'm an adult. I need to live my own life away from my mother. I need space. But at the same time, I feel terrible because she is a widow and alone. I also feel bad because she's my only parent and I need to spend time with her while she is still here, or I will regret it for the rest of my life. The worst part is I have an older brother that doesn't do anything for her. He's been to her apartment once since she has moved in. She goes over and she watches his kids every weeknight for a few hours, then leaves his house and immediately calls me to hound me for dinner. I'm so sick of it. I don't know what to do here. I know she is a widow and alone, but I need to have my own life. I also feel a bit resentful because I feel like I never got to deal with my dad's death properly because I spent so much time and effort worrying about her.
Yes. So here's the thing.
Boy.
And I've told many people about this. Mom needs to move. Mom needs to move to a lovely place that has activities for her. I've made jokes.
I think mom here needs a lot of support, not from her daughter.
Yeah.
Like she needs to find a community, whether that's it with people she moves, away and into like a more her speed community.
Mm-hmm.
Or just finding friends in general, finding interest in hobbies and places to go and, rebuild her life. Because that's sort of the widow problem.
Mm-hmm.
Is you had a life together with someone else and it was full and hopefully complete. And for some people, that basically means you had each other and that was all you needed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's basically where this couple was.
Right.
And and she doesn't know what to do now that she no longer has a husband.
Well, this is my suggestion. This is going to be a weirder one. Take mom out to eat. Tell her you're going to meet with some people afterwards and she's welcome to join. Take her to a group grief counseling meeting.
Mm-hmm. I could see that one.
Yeah.
Like, if nothing else, she won't want to go back or she'll find the support she needs.
Right.
It's kind of a weird way to not really force her into it, just kind of let her lemming her way off the cliff into it. But no, she needs a lot of support. You're not wrong. Because that's mostly the theme of this one is you feel like your mother needs a lot of support right now.
Right.
Additionally, I would go out on a secondary note and point out you have to get it through your head. You cannot be your parents' lifelong crutch for dealing with their widowhood.
Right.
Like you cannot do that.
Right.
Because there's no telling, we don't know how old mom is, but assuming she's 50,
mm-hmm.
This woman may have another 40 plus years.
Right.
You just got out on your own. You just got married. You do not want to sign up for the 40-year mother haul.
Exactly. Now, everyone knows about Mama Knight. Mama Knight, I have to call and make appointments with her. They can be kind of like complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Because she got things to do. She ain't got time for her son. She spent 18 years with me.
Yes.
She'll call him first.
She does. But no, she doesn't she doesn't call us all the time. I mean, she calls frequently enough. It's not like we're ever sitting here going like, is your mom okay? Because we haven't heard from her and I don't know what. Like, no, we don't get that. It never gets to that point really.
Right.
Now we do end up in a different point with your mother, which is like when I go over to pick her up for an appointment, but she inadvertently double booked
and decided to cancel the appointment, but didn't carry it over to you.
But didn't tell anyone. And then she went to do the other thing, and like her phone, because bless this woman, she invariably turns off her ringer.
Yep.
Not intentionally.
Oh, I think it's intentional at this point.
No, I think she accidentally grabs her phone wrong, and where she grabs it, she keeps hitting the down volume until it's off.
Right.
That's fine, Ronald. Take your BRB.
Right.
We'll still be here. You can rewind us later and watch what you missed, but we're still.
But Mom has a very active social life now.
Yeah, Brenda, that's exactly it. She is done dealing with you.
Yeah.
So she schedules with me.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. It gets very confusing when we go to her apartment because they're always like, "Oh, there's your son, and who's that with them? That's my other son. Oh, well, he's never here." That type of thing.
Basically.
Oh, that's the heavy. I heard one of her apartment. I don't know what you call it. The same people living in the apartment.
Oh my God.
Called me the heavy. What'd you do? Your heavy's here.
Oh my God. Oh, that's such a generational term.
I know.
Was the heavy here? But no, I mean, she goes, she does her own stuff. She is very active. You do about needing an appointment to get in with her. Like, we pre-schedule holiday stuff, like, and sometimes it's like, no, we have to rearrange that because it doesn't work for your mama's schedule.
Exactly. Like her door decoration, which is Patreon's. We do have pictures of the latest door decoration project. We will be getting those up. Oh, yeah. You guys are behind on stuff, and I'm sorry. I've been trying to get the network in control and another project that we'll talk about in the show. But no, she got 2 years. I gave her 2 years to be mopey. She stayed here, lived at the house. We got the house organized, got it cleaned out, got it back to functional. And then I looked at her and said,
everything.
Huh?
She had bleached everything.
Yes.
That she could possibly bleach.
Yeah.
And then some things she probably shouldn't have.
Oh.
So she had gone on a cleaning jag from hell.
Yes.
And yeah, that was basically the point in which I believe that started to be like, you got to find your mother something to do.
Well,
like, you can't clean anything else.
Well, she was cleaning the house, which I love. I love when Mom cleans, as long as I'm not in the room. And
Penny cleans just like that. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. But that's all she was doing. I mean, she did, she wasn't hanging out with friends. She wasn't interacting. She had stopped volunteering, which my mother has been a volunteer queen for years. She wasn't doing anything. And I looked at her and I said, "You're going to die. Yeah. We need to get you out of this house."
Yeah. Well, and this is where I have to go back and always go back to the same point, which is if you're retiring, if you're entering the post-caregiving phase, also known as the person you're caring for passes, if you're dealing with, the death of a spouse, whatever, like, and it is literally the same because it is a death, like the death of your career is what retirement is.
Right.
No, like, you do not understand the number of people that retire and then die within a couple of years because they didn't have a retirement plan. Like, they had a financial retirement plan.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have I'm retired, what the fuck do I do till I die?
Right.
Plan.
Right.
Like, there was no plan. They didn't have a plan. They went home, they sat on the couch, they watched television and eat.
Right.
That's it. That's all they do.
Or go to sleep. And that appears to be Mom's favorite thing is she just goes to sleep. But because, she had been Mrs. Moore, or Brother Moore's wife, for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And now she had to go figure out who she was. So I gave her 2 years to figure it out. She didn't figure it out on her own. So she found a lovely place. We looked at a few. There was a few I looked and said, "This is just storage. You're not going there."
Yeah, we're not putting you in the mama storage facility.
And Michael's is the apartment company owner. They do wonderful. They have events. She has Bible study. She has bingo. She has crafting hour. She's also at the senior center 3 or 4 days a week. Then she's got activities there. And then they have interlinking activities. It's like she plays cards with a group of ladies. She knits with another group of ladies. And apparently last week they were getting a little bit on hers because they were trying to do it at the same time. And she's like, that doesn't work that way. You're Friday.
She's not well suited to like knitting and cards. That's not good combo for her.
No, because she's a shark in cards.
Maybe they were just trying to take her down a pegs. Like, can we win a game? But no. Well, and then she also helps out some of the other residents that live there.
Yeah,
like, that's technically a no. She's not supposed to do that, but like, you know, some of, you know, like, there are people who live in that building that don't have families nearby or don't have families left. And so, like, you know, they'll go in for surgery or like they get sick or like little things like that. And it's like, could you bring me groceries? Can you do this?
Right.
But yeah, she's living it up. Like she has a very active life.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
You know, good luck scheduling with her.
Well, you know, like a parent, I've tried to start calling her Thursday nights to check in and just see how she is, whatever. And some nights she either chooses not to answer her phones for me. And I do say chooses because I'm sure NASA receives the phone signal that I
at volume, yeah.
At volume.
Well, if it's turned up.
No, I call the house phone, so I know it's turned up.
Oh, that too, yeah. Well, everyone heard that. The whole floor heard her phone ring.
Yes.
Whew.
Or she's busy and she'll call me later. Like, you called? Yes, mother, I called 3 days ago. How are you?
Well, and what's wild is your mother will call back at the weirdest hours.
Yeah, she used to call during the show.
No, not even just that. Like, I grew up, my parents had this thing, and my parents technically would be like your mom's age. Because if my parents were still living, they would be in their 80s now. So I grew up with this thing, which is 9 to 9. You couldn't call anyone before 9 a.m. You could not call anyone after 9 p.m. Like, there had better be an emergency, a dead body, something. If you're calling between 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. And to have your mother just like, and so I still live with this. This is a thing that lives. Yes, we're both from West Virginia. But this is a thing that just lives in my head rent free, is you cannot call someone's mommy after 9 p.m. or before 9 a.m. And then to have your mom turn around and call us at like 2 a.m, like, hi, I saw you called, what's up? It's just like, what?
Yeah, and she's just getting in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I've done the dad tone over Alexa and drop in. That was one of her Christmas gifts 2 years ago.
Oh, that was the best.
Yeah.
Oh, she loves that. I mean it seriously. We do not abuse this at all. Like, we can technically, or could technically at one point. No, we still can.
We still can. It's still there.
We can, and it works both ways.
Right.
She can drop in on us. We can drop in on her.
Yep.
We have used this ability one time. Because she asked us to.
Right.
Because she asked us to. Because she had some friends that were not friends. Like, she wanted to remain friendly with, but she needed them to go the fuck home.
Yeah.
And leave her alone. So she had him drop in, and this is, I'm sure, where he got called the heavy. Like, this is where it had to have genesised from. He dropped in on her and did the whole dad tone, mother, what are you doing? She got exactly what she wanted out of the friends. They were now like, he can do that anytime. Yeah. And so she got what she wanted out of it. And like, yeah, we've never done that since.
Oh, I've done it one other time when she went missing.
Oh, you tried to drop in the day we couldn't find her for that
Yes.
the most recent appointment?
Yes.
Oh my God. Because let me tell you, I like having been a caregiver, let me just say the speed at which my brain goes from, well, I'm sure she's just getting ready for the appointment and can't hear the phone, to she's laying dead on the floor. I'm going to have to go get someone to key me into this building. I'm going to have to be not only the one to find her corpse, I then have to be the one to tell him.
Mm-hmm.
Like the speed at which I can go to that is about 1 hour.
Yeah.
Is about 1 hour. Because that's how long I was in front of her apartment. And like I did my first call and, you know, like, oh, well, she didn't answer. Okay. Then I did the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth, like, because I'm waiting. I'm not like evil. But you know, and I'm alternating phones in case, like, okay, well, if the cell phone's ringer's off, let me call the house phone because she'll hear that. But you know, and so like and then like about 20 minutes in, I leave a voicemail. Hey, you know, it's Joe. I'm down front, just waiting for you to be ready to go to your appointment. All the way to the, I really hope that the one place I can think of that you are at right now is where you're at, and you are not laying dead on the floor, having done some god awful thing to injure yourself and expire.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was my progression.
It was either that or, you know, I don't know if it's because there's a group of them that they don't run the senior center, but they run the senior center. And I had to call her supervisor to get her to come and talk on the phone at the senior center. That may have been when I was the heavy. Who knows? Anyhow, I'm the heavy. You're apparently the fun one. I'm glad we have the relative relationships worked out. Everyone knows when I entered the building to stop your bullshit. Because I'm sorry, seniors get up to some of the craziest stuff, and my mother loved to tell it all. But anyhow.
Well, and Ronald and Brenda are both in the same place. Now, Ronald's was 9 p.m. to 10 a.m. And yeah, Brenda was dead on with the 9 to 9. Knows exactly what I'm talking about there.
Yep.
Like hospital, dead, or drunk.
Yep.
And in my family, drunk wasn't an option.
Right.
Like, no. You, honestly, calling my dad because you're drunk is probably the worst idea you could have ever had. Because all he could do is be like, me too.
Right. But, you know.
What do you want me to do about it?
Yeah. What mother quickly, you know, I grew up in a house that lived on a 24-hour clock. Night shift, day shift, evening shift. We all worked the shifts. So, yeah, there's been times I have no problem picking my phone up and calling my mother at 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I do. Like, you'll say things to me like, well, just go ahead and call mom and ask her, like, whatever. It's midnight.
And?
He's probably in bed. And you're like, nope. No.
All right. So, the votes on Are You an Asshole are no.
Not the asshole.
Not the asshole for getting a tattoo to remind you of your mommy and the question she asks.
Yes.
All right. So there's a new project launching this Friday at 6 p.m. It is not on the PCSP network. You will have to look at my postings on social media to find it because it will be over on Modern Spiritualist. We are launching Modern Spiritualist live every Friday night at 6 p.m. in league with the Ingenio Projects. So, hope for you to look to that show.
So Brenda says, my drunk cousins who called to say they loved everyone, which deteriorated to fine when I die, don't come to my funeral.
Right.
Yeah, it's a speed.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, like what? Now I will add on real quickly here. Like when in my household, waking someone up was like a near-death experience or a could be punishable by death experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like waking my dad up was like the last thing you ever wanted to do, ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you want to talk about unhinged, that man would become unhinged.
Shannon, right. I feel you. I feel you. I feel you.
Oh, where I worked nights for so long, nearly 2 years on day shift, people still call me at 3 a.m. like, I can't sleep. What are you doing? Sleeping! Yes.
Yes, and where my shifts are so chaotic, people will call. Actually, they don't. A lot of them don't call anymore. But that people, when we had the house, would call and be like, "What are you doing?" At like 9 a.m. What are you doing? How's your day? I'm sleeping. Go away.
Oh yeah. Hi, we'd like to talk to you about your car's extended warranty.
Which one, the shoeboat or the Subaru?
Oh, fun. But no, so you have Modern Spiritual Podcast. That is going to be a new one. It's not on PCSP Network, so follow his social media to find out the link for that one.
Yep.
It'll be going up by Friday.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, and we already have our first guest that'll be on. It'll be a little different. It's only a 1 hour show. It's not an hour and a half show, and definitely not a 2 hour show. And we'll be talking to different psychics around the world, different instructors around the world.
Mm-hmm. Hey, there you go. Yep. So yeah, no, Shannon misses before I had kids. If people woke me up, someone better be dead. They knew to run.
Yep. All right, guys. We hope you have a great night, and we want to thank our Patreons.
Yes. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda Bryan, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Charles Shaw, Dottie the Psychic, Tracy Van, and Caitlin Bell. If you'd like to support the show or find out more about us, you can go to PCSPnetwork.com.
Yep.
I always hate when it changes. It messes me up every time.
No, the rhythm changes, but
I know, and then I start doing it backwards. It's so weird. Oh, you got called out. You got called out. Only a 1 hour show. We'll see.
Uh-huh. We'll see. But no, it's supposed to be 1 hour. It's supposed to be 65 minutes max, and then I have to wrap it up. We will see. But also remember, join Lady Gwendolyn tomorrow at 8 p.m. for Under the Rowan Tree on your PCSP Network brands or at Lady Gwendolyn Healing. All right, guys. You have a great night. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
The deck is stacked. You can whisper behind my back. You can show me how the odds are up against me all day long. But I've been through the fire and come out alive, and there's no more fear in my eyes. Oh, now I'm rising, and you can't bring me down. You can't stop me now.